Victim blaming and the costs of victimization. Victim blaming is a devaluing act that occurs when the victim of a crime or an accident is held responsible in whole or part for the crimes committed against them. This blame can appear in the form of negative social responses from legal, medical, and mental health professionals, as well as from the media, immediate family members, and other acquaintances. Misconceptions about victims, perpetrators, and the nature of violent acts are some of the reasons for blaming victims. Victims are sometimes wrongfully portrayed as passive individuals who seek out and submit to the violence they endure. The most popular reasons for blaming victims include belief in a just world, attribution error, and invulnerability theory. The cost of victimization has three dimensions: physical injuries, financial losses, and emotional stress. Many different physical and emotional consequences may follow victimization. Beyond apparent costs such as injury, medical expenses, lost days from work, and economic loss, victimization generates a broader public impact that might lead to stigmatization. Analysis and integration. Victim blaming is a frightening and unsettling experience for many victims. It is unpredictable, largely unpreventable, and often unexpected. Unlike everyday life experiences, victim blaming is not sought out and is never welcomed. It is debilitating and demoralizing, and its effects can often be long-term and difficult to overcome. Blaming silences victims. When victims are blamed, they are less likely to seek help in recovering from a traumatic experience, and they are less likely to report the incident to authorities. Abuse, assault, and other forms of violence are always the perpetrator's fault. According to Stines, victim blaming is a manipulative tactic used by abusers to convince themselves and their victims that the problems lie with the other person, not with them. A victim does not bring any crime on themselves; perpetrators are to blame. I think victim blaming impacts survivors' healing and can result in heightened practices of disgrace, nervousness, post-traumatic stress disorder, despair, self-blame, and suicidality. It can also make it less likely for survivors to report and seek support, care, and treatment. According to a report by the Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault, victim blaming leads to increased experiences of self-blame, shame, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and suicidal ideation. The financial cost of victimization is unprecedented. Although all crimes incur both tangible and intangible costs, several studies have found that rape and sexual violence are the costliest crimes. The Minnesota Department of Health found that the annual cost per year to victims of rape, not including child sexual abuse, is $127 billion. The average price of rape is $110,000, while being a victim of robbery costs, on average, $16,000. And being a victim of drunk driving typically $36,000. The cost of victimization emanates from the victim's loss of income, heightened healthcare costs, and recovery costs. Application. The news article connects to the topic by analyzing why people blame the victims and pardon the offender. According to the report by Nordhues, psychologists describe this tendency to blame victims as the just world hypothesis, and it stems from a deeply rooted need to believe that the world is a good and just place. The majority of people, at their core, are good people. To survive in this world, they want to create some semblance of safety and fairness. According to the article, people need to know that they are not walking around with targets on their backs, under the constant scrutiny of predators. The report states that people believe that victims played a role in their attacks, and they can differentiate themselves from the victims. The article elaborates on some reasons why people tend to be inclined towards victim blaming to validate that the victim brought on their misfortune so that we can rest assured we are not also in danger.